Welcome back to watching film. Today we're going to look at the UCF offense. Um, they're really explosive, really good. Probably one of the better units that USF has played this year. Yards per play wise, somewhat comparable to Memphis. Not quite as good as Memphis, but comparable. I think, just kind of based on research and watching them a little bit, that they're really, um, they're I'd say a run first team. They use the run to set up their passing game. They're a really good running team. They have a variety of backs. They have three different backs that are all really good players, and they can take it the distance anytime they touch it. It seems like they have a good complement of receivers and tight ends and skill players to catch the ball, and the quarterback does a pretty good job of being accurate with the ball and making quick decisions. So we'll kind of start with the run game and kind of show you how they evolve the run game and how they kind of transition that into their passing game through RPOs, play action, and then just straight drop back. So we'll start with kind of the basic split zone. So you'll see this look a lot where you got like 11 personnel look and you have the H back here. So this is just going to be your kind of normal split zone with your H back or tight end coming to kick out. So they use this split zone to kind of set up a lot of different things. So there's a kick, back makes a good read, and they're not a team that you can totally load the box up against and disregard the pass because they are so good outside. So that's just straight split zone. So nothing fancy, just kind of the normal split zone. Line does a pretty good job. I think their tempo catches people misaligned sometimes. They're able to pop some big runs on what are pretty simple plays. This is just kind of a regular split zone, inside zone, and back makes a good cut. And there's a huge hole there. I think part of it's because of how fast they go. And that's something that USF's definitely going to have to contend with this weekend. So here's a different play, but so now it's the same formation. It kind of catches the snap late, but now they're going to run more like a lead or an ISO play. Same formation. So the same kind of pre-snap look, but now instead of him coming all the way across here, he's just going to lead now. So you're not quite sure where they're coming from. Then the back makes a great cut and is really explosive and takes it the distance with just a sliver of space. But again, that's the same kind of pre-snap look. So you have split zone, you have kind of a leader ISO, and now they're going to run basically what looks to me like a same side counter. So they're going to counter. So typically, right, a lot of teams run a counter. If they want to involve this guy, they'd bring that guard and they'd have him be the wrap guy. They're actually going to, so they've already shown this and that. All right, so split zone. And so now they're going to almost combine it here. So counter, like we said, if it was going that way, you'd have the guard here. Typically, he'd be kicking out the end man, and this guy would be wrapping to that side. You typically go opposite the H-back if you're involving the H-back in the blocking scheme. Well, one wrinkle they use that's really interesting is they're going to bring him to the same side. So you're going to have the pull here. He's going to kick down, down. He's going to come across almost like a split zone and then follow back, wrap through. So it's still counter. It's just bringing it from the same side now. So right here, kick the in man, and now come through the same side. And again, you have these backs, and that's a different guy than the previous time. So you've seen 3 plays, 24 on the first one, 2 on the second one. Here's 9 on the third one. Like I said, it seems like those guys can take it the distance, any one of them, anytime they touch it. Well, here's 3 plays of proof, I guess. But this is just same side counter. So this is kind of an interesting wrinkle that I haven't seen a ton. I think them running it last year may have been the first time I saw it. So this is kind of an interesting run game wrinkle. And they hit Temple with it earlier, or I'm sorry, this is later in the game for even bigger run. So again, you get the guard coming. Down, down, down. Guard kicks here. And with how Temple plays, you're going to get a lot of flow over the top here. And now you get him coming back that way for a bit to break a big run. You got the safety out of position right there. And now he's going to take off. So again, it's just a wrinkle off the split zone. So they have the ice off the split zone that has the same side counter, which is really interesting. Really cool look. They also do, it looks like both guards pulling. So like old school buck sweep. I think they kind of have different runs in depending on what fronts they're going to get. And another one where you give their back just a sliver of space. They don't need a lot of space and they're going to go. So just another, so this one's out of a spread look. So 2x2, maybe 10 personnel, or even if it's 11, they're spread out. Lighten the box for themselves, and now I'll pull 2 guards. But it's kind of the same idea. One's kicking the end, one's wrapping. So you kick the backer, wraps inside. Doesn't get a great block, but gets enough of them to give that back a crease. So some pretty interesting stuff in the run game. And then when they get down inside the red zone, or especially down inside the 10 here, they'll bring in the backup quarterback and they'll do some funky stuff, some wildcat type stuff, single wing type stuff. But here they have an overload, like we kind of saw Memphis do a version of last week. So here's your tight end H-back. Then you got 1, 2, 3 receivers. So I got 4 to a side, technically 5 to a side with the tailback there. Pump the H-back out. And he's a pretty good runner, so he can kind of find the hole there. So you'll see this, and then they'll work in some passes off this too, where he'll kind of sleek out to the flat and he'll roll, and they've done that in a couple games. So they'll throw out of this too. It's not a 100% run, but it's something you might see if they get down inside the 10. Little backup quarterback. And here's this is just like, even if it's not blocked perfectly, this play is designed to hit over here. Not too different than the dart play we're going to see in a second, where they're pulling the tackle, but they're pulling the guard here. And he just cuts it back. This was definitely not designed this way, and the receivers do a good job blocking downfield. Well, that's just a guy making a play and being explosive and being able to kind of, anytime you touch it, you got a chance to score. And they got a few of those guys on the team. So it's going to be definitely a tough task for the USF defense. So here's another scheme they like to run, dart. They ran this against Cincinnati quite a few times, where you're pulling the backside tackle. They ended up coming out here because they're going to run an RPO with it. We'll see the give first, then we'll kind of look at the RPO. So the quarterback's reading it. Here he's got a give read. Back bounces it for like a 15-yard gain here. Good run, but they're reading this. So you've seen kind of the variety of runs they do. So now you just saw the dart give. Here's the dart when they pull it. So if you look in here, get started a little bit late, but here's the tackle coming around to pull. Quarterback's looking in this area. He likes this hitch, so he takes it. This is something we saw USF try to go to a little bit against Memphis. The problem is Memphis didn't give this kind of cushion because they didn't think USF was going to run by him. So you've got a guy up there. It makes it a little bit tougher. Whereas they have to give cushion because these guys can run by him. And again, we'll see the same thing here. Tackle's pulling right here. I don't know if the quarterback's reading him or if he's reading the depth of the safety, but probably him. If he comes inside here, I can whip it out there and make that throw really easily. Pick up 5 or 6 just no problem. So not only will they do RPO stuff, they'll just do straight play action stuff. So here's just a shot, and their receivers can really go and get it. This is 16 here. I think Nixon. They have Davis 13, who's a really good player too. And 6 is a really good player too. You'll see they've got 3 really good receivers. Not they don't make mistakes or ever drop balls, but they also do stuff like this where they just go up and get it. Quarterback doesn't have the best arm. He's pretty accurate, but he does not have a cannon. This ball it hangs in the air for a long time. But they got the receivers that can go and get it. So kind of another one off play action. They could RPO this too. Here I think it's just straight play action, but double slant. You'll see guys RPO double slant on the backside of zone. You can really just inside out it here. If it's not RPO, which here it's just straight play action, but inside out, he takes the inside one, outside one should open up. It's kind of how you taught to read it. So they like to run this in a variety of looks. So here's just straight. This is just straight drop back. They like the quick game stuff, I think. Their quarterback's pretty good with the quick game. Getting the ball out of his hands, the receivers do a good job of getting open. Here you'll see the receiver invites him outside. Does a nice arm over on the corner to get himself open. Gets him to open up his hips. Arm over. Slam on the brakes. Get inside. And then when you run the slants enough and you got really explosive players, this may happen every now and then. Catch it. Corner doesn't take a great angle. And then I'm gone. So they'll run the hitches. They'll run the slants. Then not only can they take a slant to the house, but then they'll also, like they do here at Temple, they'll go slant and go. They do this on both sides. So both sides are kind of come in and then vertical. Sell the double slant and get vertical. And the same thing's happening down here off screen. Quarterback kind of goes away from, I guess, the deep safety or tries to hold him. Comes back, makes a really accurate throw here to his receiver for a touchdown. But it's really, I think I think they're mostly predicated on the run game is they're trying to get as much as they can in the passing game one-on-one matchups. As much as they can get you isolated to where you have to make a tackle in space. You can't load up, you're going to have to leave guys in the box to stop the run game, so that's less guys out in coverage. This is just here simple. Looks to me like a simple curl flat. He's going to run a deep curl. He's going to motion and become the flat guy. So you really have curl here, and he's kind of taking guys away, trying to open up the curl window, but he himself pops open, and the quarterback hits him on the run here. So, you're thinking this guy can kind of take away, possibly take some defenders out of the curl window. But the quarterback's going to hit him on the run here, and he's going to break a tackle. So right here, he's getting in this window, trying to open this up. The flat is trying to take him out for the deep curl coming behind it. They bring a blitz and open this window up for the quarterback. He does a good job getting out of his hands. Then right here, break a tackle and go. So the scheme and the quarterback get you the first down here. But then your player making a play, breaking a tackle and breaking a couple tackles, that kind of gets you the touchdown. So, this is where the individual explosive players, having those kind of guys, is really valuable. They can take first downs and turn them into touchdowns. And UCF's got quite a few of those guys. Just another one where they'll start in a 3-by-1 here. They're going to motion the back out here, and now they're going to get him one-on-one with the linebacker. So at the bottom of the screen, they're just going to run, looks like a stick, like a version of stick. Then up top, he's got a slant, and he's one-on-one. So the quarterback kind of already knows where I'm going with the ball. It's really, actually down here, it's really just verticals. So they'll do this to where they're kind of, it looks like they're almost just trying to isolate one or two guys. So right here, you have he's isolated one on one in a tough route. He's isolated one on one. Everybody else is almost clearing out. It looks like there are times where it looks like there's guys that are decoys. It's something Baylor used to do under Bryles, and it's something maybe they do. There's a play I see late that we're going to show you later that I think they do some of that where maybe one guy's live, everybody else is dead, and one guy's going to run a route because they know they're going to get the matchup. So right there, just motion your back out, get him one-on-one linebacker, and this guy plays in the slot anyway sometimes, so it's basically functionally another receiver on a linebacker. And then again, the scheme gets your guy one-on-one, which is great. But right here, that's a 5-yard gain, which is a good play on first down. 5 yards is great. But then you break a tackle, you make a guy miss, and now a 5-yard gain turns into a 50-yard gain or more. And that's kind of those individual explosive guys. So this one struck me as kind of a Baylor kind of example. Watch, the guys up here aren't really doing anything. They're kind of just jogging. He's going to run off. But really right here is a one-on-one. He's going to do a good job of kind of sticking with him, and then he breaks free to the slant. And then again, breaks the tackle. Doesn't get tripped up. But this is really, you can look up top. These guys aren't really doing anything. So this is kind of that Baylor where one guy's live. Not a difficult read for the quarterback. He's probably, if I get blitz, maybe I got the slant. If I don't, I can throw this go route up here. Or try to hit this in a window here. But he makes it easy. Not a perfect throw, but their receivers are really good. So even though the throw's behind me, I'm going to catch it. Won't get tripped up and take it in for a touchdown. Then that's, they'll try to get Davis isolated backside. So here, the safety comes down with the play action. They're just going to run kind of a little skinny post, little glance. And there's no safety there because of the play action. Just a nice, easy throw. All right, so you say nice, easy pitch and catch for a big play. That's an easy explosive play right there. And then here's kind of the same thing. They'll get Davis matched up one-on-one out here, so you try to blitz them. And when the quarterback's on and accurate, those guys are going to be really tough to stop. So USF defense definitely has their hands full. I don't think you're going to be able to stop them. Your hope is that once you get them into, if you let them get in the red zone, they've lost games this year when they haven't been able to convert in the red zone, turning them into touchdowns. If you go home to field goals, turn them over a few times, and then get some help from the offense. That's the recipe for winning the game. But this will not be a low-scoring affair, I wouldn't imagine. You're not going to be able to shut them out. It's similar to Memphis last week. But Memphis is probably a little bit better offensively, but not by a lot. UCF's really, really good. And they have scheme that kind of takes advantage of their players' explosiveness and makes you come in to stop the run, and then they isolate you on their receivers, which are really, really good. And then if you try to kind of back off and play coverage to take those guys away, then they'll run the ball with their 3 good running backs. So they're difficult to stop, but they have shown the propensity to turn the ball over in certain games. In all their losses, they've turned the ball over quite a bit. So if you can get that, they're not great on third down. Get them off the field on third down, kind of limit their possessions, and that's going to be your recipe for slowing them down. But you're probably not going to stop them. You just kind of hope to slow them down. So we'll see what happens on Black Friday.